So it ain't summer yet. In fact, it's quite a long time off summer, isn't it, really? But I'm going for summer walks along a kind of river kind of feeling, or even through a forest, but mainly by a river, which is it's always my favourite kind of thing. Coming from a town with 4 rivers that's very famous for its water, which you can buy all around the world. Yeah, Buxton water is the best, folks. So water and greenery are kind of special to me and my happy place. I don't like the sea, that's something completely different. But rivers and peace and the tranquility and that kind of, it's almost meditative, isn't it? Like here, all you can hear is the running water, a fly buzzing around me, the birds tweeting, you know, the dog is rustling through the grass and that. There aren't flowers in this spot, but there are obviously flowers everywhere throughout, and it's just a really magical, transportative feel. And there are some fragrances out there that have kind of captured that essence. And as far as green fragrances go, these are the ones I really like to wear myself. So yeah, let's crack on. Now first up, I think this is probably the best I've ever smelt, and I will own a bottle of this one day. And that's Pavillon Dior from Dusita. Now, there's so many, I'm not going to go through all the notes, but there's a lot of aromatic notes. I think there's thyme, there might be rosemary. There's kind of this darker aromatic feel as well, like nettles or something, or nettles, whatever. And it's really green, really green. And on the surface you'd think this wasn't for me, but this is literally, I mean, I've had videos where I'm walking along Durham River, and this is that smell of that. It's got these kind of thick green feels. Also a dry kind of feel from maybe the vetiver, and a sweetness in the air, and a kind of dark sweetness, which is the kind of flowers you get near water, isn't it? And it's peaceful, but literally you can imagine even going on a boat along a river with all the greenery, you know, the birds coming out to see you, squirrels throwing nuts off trees at you on the boat, and it's just peaceful. And you can almost, as well as smelling the kind of clean, fresh river water, which is rare, you can smell the kind of mixing with the water, you know, like some flowers have gone in the water and scenting it slightly. It's just a very peaceful, calm fragrance that takes me to a really happy place. And I suppose the aromatic notes in it lift it. It gives it this kind of fresh, almost like it's just rained on a summer's day kind of feel. And you know that, is it still called petrichor? It's on the grass and stuff, but it gives you that very fresh, green, verdant. So yeah, that's Pavillon Dior from Dusita. Next is the one I always mention. That's Luna. Now Luna from Penhaligons is, again, this is my experience, not the listed notes. It's a peachy, rich, kind of thick mountain pool or mountain spring. There's kind of these, how would you put it? It's got juniper in it, which gives it this heavier water feel. Now again, if someone out there who's drank Buxton spring water before, we have quite a heavy water there. Not heavy water as in nuclear water, but heavy, thicker kind of feeling, and it kind of warms you up. Again, I was probably from being a kid and dipping in these pools, etc. But it's beautiful. And the peachiness, which there's no peach listed, probably comes from maybe the jasmine or something like that. Give a sweet, refreshing tenderness to it. And then obviously all the greener notes add to that feeling of putting you in that scene, of being like by a spring at the side of a mountain, where there's loads of green and life from the water, the peace and quiet, the freshness despite all the warmth around you. It's invigorating. So yeah, that's Penhaligons Luna. So the next is Dior, Gris Dior. Now there might be two Diors and I haven't decided yet. Don't want it to be a long one, but anyway, Gris Dior is again, it's like this, it's this airy, ozonic, calming, fresh rose and patchouli, but there is something in it that is aquatic. Always seems the wrong word, doesn't it? Watery, in the sense that you are again by one of these rivers, but all that grows round this river is roses, and you can smell the damp kind of warm earth from the patchouli, and you can also get these, it's more like rose petals than sniffing a natural rose. Some bluebells here, gorgeous, aren't they? So it's more rose petally and rose powder, and it has this muskiness, probably with the patchouli, that gets up your nose and kind of tickles it and makes you euphoric and takes you somewhere pretty and lovely. It is just a beautifully magnificent fragrance. It's very easy going, it's very easy to wear, but again I think it's that slight rose petals in a pond or going by a river, fresh green tinge and green feeling about it that just calms you and makes you feel quite wonderful. So that is Dior's Gris Dior. Next we're going old school, very old school, one that was from my youth, and that's Calvin Klein's Escape. Now they have some very iconic fragrances, and I think Escape is still about now. I do have a bottle, I'll be honest, I don't wear it much, but it's this 90s, it smells of the 90s and early 2000s, doesn't it? And what makes this one kind of watery, I think there are kind of aquatic-y, watery notes in there, and there's a plethora of florals and fruits, etc., you know, like they used to have in the old days, but predominantly it's this watermelon. There might be pear as well, and it gives it this fresh, crisp, watery greenness. It's melon, not watermelon, so it's not quite sweet, but it just reminds you of, you know, melon dew dripping down and this kind of calm water, and you sat there munching on them, doing things that we did in the 90s which had nothing to do with our phones, you know, chatting to our friends, chilling, paddling in the water, before getting ready to go out and cause chaos. So yeah, that's Escape from Calvin Klein. I think it's still relevant today, and there aren't many fragrances with melon, but melon does give that kind of watery feel, doesn't it? So yeah. Next up is one of my favourites, that if you know me you knew this would be in here, and that's Lotus Rising from April Aromatics. Obviously this fragrance is mainly about, let me think, lotus. Now it more, you can smell the sweetness of the lotus, and again there's lots of notes in this. This is not what this video is. It's like being, I've never been to India or China, say, but it's like being there, like by these wonderful endless rivers with the trees that kind of droop over, and the kind of naturally muddy, not polluted rivers like we have here, or streams. And you can see this, a lotus is such an important flower about rebirth and things like that, isn't it? And you can see why, because every night I think they go back down into the murky water and then rise up every morning. So this one has that little kind of damp, earthy kind of rivery smell, like a mucky river, in the sense it's mucky from earth and grass and things like that growing around it. There's also these other like delicate florals, and it's almost like this would be one you'd meditate to, because you can kind of imagine being the lotus flower on the pad, kind of the sky going by and the gentle kind of sounds of the stream or whatever it is, the flowers and greenery kind of bobbing about. It's beautiful. One of my favourites for a reason. So that's Lotus Rising from April Aromatics. Next is a drop Issey from Issey Miyake. Now this one is lilac and it's kind of got a creamy feel. But what I think it is about this one that makes this watery, rivery to me is the fact that maybe the ozonic feel from the ambroxan in it, which is used quite nicely actually, gives it that fresh river air. You know, it's a bit cool, it's a bit brisk, but you've got the warmth of the lilac bobbing up and down, and the kind of creaminess of the woods that are all around you, and that kind of warm, you know what warm wood smells like. It's very, again, it makes you feel really good. Smells make us feel really good. That's my conclusion to all my videos. But it does, it makes you feel very calm and relaxed. And despite this kind of river breeze with the lilacs in the air, you're very calm and very relaxed. And you're just kind of taking in the world. And purple flowers, like lilac, although they've come early this year, are very much kind of June floral to me. And June here isn't very hot, but it's on the way to getting to that stage, and just just lilacs are so beautiful. They smell so purple, so sweet, with their kind of natural hint of green. It's just a very calming one, and you can imagine this, them drooping over this river, filling the air. So that's a drop Issey from Issey Miyake. Next is one you wouldn't expect in here, but I think cardamom can give this kind of watery feel. Again, to me, it would be a warm river that's kind of surrounded in flowers, in a kind of warm, nice place, and calming. I suppose sometimes cardamom to me is maybe gives that gin feel. Now I don't like gin, but gin has this heavy element like described before. I think cardamom mixing with lots of other things, and there's lavender in this. Oh, it's YSL's La Nuit De L'Homme, but yeah, the lavender going with it gives it again that kind of fresh, therapeutic kind of feel. And predominantly this is what this one is: cardamom, lavender, and the kind of calm woody notes from the vase and the vetiver, which you don't really smell, but you know it's there. It gives it that complete feel. Yeah, and I'm waffling, and the citrus again gives the watery feel, even though that goes quite quick. The kind of sweetness from it lingers on through it. So that's the Nuit De L'Homme from YSL. And finally is one that is it kind of watery? Yes, to me. It's Violette in Love, and again this has that kind of ozonic, fresh, wonderful feel. Now violet, as we know, can be quite heavy, can be a bit much. This isn't actually that rich or hefty, and the fruity notes in it, with quite a few greener notes in it, give it this kind of fuzzy, breezy day. And you just, you know, you're a kid and you're off smelling of Parma violets, if you like, and you're off just for a little dip in the local river. Be careful when doing that, don't advise it, especially not nowadays. But you just got to go for a little paddle with your friends. You know, you've had a nice day running around, getting muddy, sniffing all the flowers, picking all the flowers. You've been making daisy chains, multicoloured ones with, you know, all the clovers and buttercups and such like, and forget-me-nots and the things that all kind of grow everywhere. and you've kind of got that sweet flowery smell on you, and you know, your sticky we used to get them in little plastic ribbed cube type things where you pop the straw through, and all it would be like basically sugar and water with some sort of colouring and sort of fruity flavour, but they were quite fresh, and that's kind of going through this Violet in Love thing as you kind of wade through the puddles. And we used to have, again, because there's a lot of rivers and stuff, there's a lot of stepstones and things like that, especially with the bigger, rougher rivers and stuff. So yeah, it's fun, it's vibrant, it's youthful, and it kind of takes you back to that innocent time. It's a very innocent, fresh, calming, smelling kind of youthful Riverwalk one. So that's Violet in Love from Nicolai. So yeah, this is again another, I'd hopefully say, fairly brief one for me. I don't need to waffle on too long. It's just, I don't know what it is. It's probably because we used to have the summer off and stuff as kids, isn't it? It just takes me back to a better, calmer time of, like I say, rivers, and now they're very peaceful and meditative. And these ones do have that kind of watery, fresh greenness, dare I say, about them, and they're very enjoyable. So what about yourself? What's your favourite kind of Riverwalk fragrance? One you'd wear to do it, or one that reminds you of it? What kind of particular fragrance DNA takes you to this kind of calm, peaceful, happy, meditative kind of place in your life? Right folks, thanks, bye.